Okay, looks like it's okay. It's preparing it. Okay, it's preparing it. I think we are live. Yay, we're on Facebook, girlfriend. Okay, so let me just make sure. Okay, it's preparing it. I think we are live. Yay, we're on Facebook, okay, girlfriend. Okay, so let me just make sure. Okay. Is that your phone doing that?
No, I think I hear it on your end. Do you have Facebook open on your laptop?
Is that your phone doing that?
No, I think I hear it on your end. Do you have Facebook open on your
okay, we got laptop?
No, I think I hear it on your end. Do you have Facebook open on your
there? Quiet. That was crazy. It was we are live though, so let me just make sure. But what was happening was there was a little bit of feedback. So yep, we're live. Okay,
perfect. What was happening was
there was some multidimensionality echoes to the universe because Erica and Don are on live, baby. Okay, you guys, I'm so excited because I have my soul sister here, Erica Angelo. And one of the things that I love more than anything in life is to celebrate a soul sister's like awesome news. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Erica, so you can share about your new show that's coming out.
Yes, I have a brand new show coming out on Bravo TV. And if anyone knows Bravo, they know that they do incredible shows that go on for 14 seasons because they're just so darn good. And so we have this new show called Love Without Borders. I am the host. I am the relationship expert on the show. And basically what we do is we guide 5 single Americans who are ready to find love. They cannot find love in America. Can you relate out there, ladies? Mm-hmm. They can't find love. And so they come to me and me and my team help them find love. But here's the catch. Here's the catch. They have to move to an entirely different country. They don't know where they're going. And on top of that, the person that I matched them with, they move in with their match. It's like moving in with your blind date.
Oh, that's a deep breath. I can't. Wow, that's got to be. I cannot wait to watch the show. It's going to be so exciting.
And the trailer's out on Bravo. You can go to Bravo's Instagram. You can go to my Instagram. You can watch the trailer. It is phenomenal. I mean, it was done so well, so beautifully, and it's super juicy because as you can imagine how triggering and scary that can be. Sounds great until you actually have to live it out. And these courageous souls did just that.
Oh my God. Well, I watched the trailer and I was looking at all the beautiful, I know when you're filming it and traveling to all those beautiful places, but I can't, that is a big leap of faith, right? For somebody to completely uproot their life and go live with somebody. Ooh. And I think it's incredible that you were there supporting them, right? Through that whole process.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, and why we created this this program that we're doing. So Erica has all this expertise. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Donnell, and I have this soul-led, kind of leadership expertise of seeing life, through the lens of your soul. And Erica and I decided to come together and do this incredible 3-month program so that obviously she's on, going to be on TV. When is that, by the way? Is it November 30th?
November 30th. I mean, it is around the corner. It's almost here.
Yeah, it's going to be life-changing for you, for sure. Yes. And we kind of preemptively thought, how incredible would it be for us to come together and help women across the globe that want relationship support. And that's why we created this, Becoming. And so we thought we were going to jump on today and we wanted to talk about something that is aligned with what we're going to be teaching. And it's about, letting go of the past and how the past comes up in your relationship too damn much, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's It's one of those things of like, when we talk about the past, I think that, most people, I think, who are going to follow you or who follow me know that we're going to talk about family history. We're going to talk about trauma. We're going to talk about all those things. And all those things are legitimate. One of the first things I say to my clients, Don, I've been coaching people for 14 years regarding love and relationships. And the first question I ask my clients is, what did your mom and dad teach you about love? Because that's your foundation. There's no way around it. You're not going to outsmart it. You're just not. So let's just start where this all began. Let's start where your story began. But the reality is this, is that most of us, even if we're conscious of those stories, the reality is, because of our habits, because of our programming, because of the way our trauma has rewired our nervous system, that we find ourselves in these relationships that very much mirror home. And so that our past relationships, it's not enough that we've gone through hell and in our adolescence and growing up. It's like, no, I want to revisit that lesson over and over. And the reality is this, Dawn, and you know this, and I know this, but the reality is this, it needs to be said that until those past areas are confronted, until we face and confront that past mirror and really do the, not just healing, but the kind of integration that is needed, that we will continue to repeat those stories, and we will continue to repeat those relationships until they are faced.
Yeah. And what's scary is a lot of the work that has to be done in order to not keep repeating it and recreating it is obviously slowing down and having some awareness to pause in your life. Because if you just go from relationship to relationship, if you're one of those people that you get out of a relationship and the first thing you're doing is like, I gotta go find my next person, but you don't do the work to ask yourself, why have I created this? Like, why does this keep showing up? And, I have to, in full transparency, I had a pattern of, it was a different person always, but the same type of energy. And it wasn't until I got so fed up. I bet there's so many women out there that they just get so fed up. Like, why do I keep bringing in the same person? What's wrong with me? There's that question of, am I stupid to keep, bringing in these patterns? Like, no, you're not stupid at all. It's just that there's unconscious material that is in your past, right? That you haven't processed or worked through yet. So in order to do so, it's not a hurry up and let's get to the next thing. It's actually the complete opposite. It's a slow down, get present, and get in your body to see what's showing up, right? We can't rewire or shift anything when we're going a million miles an hour.
Right. Oh my gosh. I have the perfect story.
I want to hear it.
Exactly what you're saying, Dawn. You are spot on. This was my life. Like, every relationship, it was a common theme. I would get in relationships with men because somewhere in my life I had a need, and I was hoping, we talked about this on a Facebook Live, I was hoping these guys were going to save me in some area of my life, but the constant theme with all of these men were, and I hate to say this because I just want to preface it by saying these people all had beautiful aspects, which is why I chose them. I didn't choose them because they were just, a-holes, but there was a common theme, and they were all weak and they all lied. And this was a common theme. And so in my need to be in control, let me take some ownership here. My need to be able to be in control is like, yes, find weak men that you can control, and they will never betray you. They will never hurt you. Wrong. They all betray. They all hurt. They all lied. And I was never as in control as I thought I was, right?
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you're saying. The thing is, it's like, I love what you said about stopping and slowing down. And I think that sounds like such simple advice. And it is brilliant, because I remember I went through a season, and I think most people, when they hear something like this, they're like, oh, I stay single and I do the work. But there's an element of slowing down, which you can speak all into this brilliantly about the nervous system. But I remember going on a 4-year hiatus. but I didn't slow down. I was living in Los Angeles. I was struggling to pay the bills. I was hustling. I had a sister who, was in and out of SICU from being hit by a drunk driver. There was no slowing down in my life. And then I find myself in another relationship with another liar. And I'm just like, and then finally I meet a girlfriend, and I meet her in France. And my dear, dear girlfriend says to me, I think you need to move to Bali, Indonesia. I go to Bali, go back to LA, think I need to get back in the relationship. Nope, done. Go back to Bali. And Dawn, the perfect storm came. And that perfect storm is a storm that we all can relate to, which was COVID.
Oh,
COVID
yeah.
happened. Bali goes completely quiet. Everyone's freaking out, going, we should go home. We should get out of here. And I made a decision and just said, I'm going to stay here. And the ultimate slowdown came. And I remember meeting a guy in Bali. It fell head over heels. And it was the same scenario of emotionally unavailable. Thankfully, this one told the truth, but it was the same undertone of, I was in that need of desperation. And I was like, I don't like the way I feel. And you said, Erica, I have a book and I think you need to read it. And you told me about the book called Betrayal Bonding. And when I read that book, I was like, oh my God, this is my life. This is why I keep attracting this. And I'm like, and because some friends said that relationship in Bali was a karmic relationship. It was so intense. It was insanely painful. And what that relationship did was, it was a mirror, and it exposed how much pain I was truly in and how much I was running away. And so in the quietness of Bali, I had this beautiful 3-bedroom villa. It was a sanctuary. I called it the Garden of Eden. It had beautiful plants, and it had this wonderful gazebo. And I remember I would just go in that gazebo, and there was this song by this lady named Sabrina Claudio, and it was called Messages from Her. And it's talking about this girl who is like trying to heal and trying to be with her little girl. And she's like, her life was so good. And so if I could just get back, because she keeps sending me these messages. And Dawn, I was like, I am not running from this pain anymore.
Yeah.
I lost my grandma at 7. I have dealt with abandonment ever since. She was my best friend. And I'm like, I am going to face all of this stuff that I keep micro healing and then running. Micro healed, jump into the next thing. Micro healed. And I was like, screw this. I am tired of relationships being lessons and not love. I'm going to say that again.
I love that
again. I am tired of relationships being lessons and not love. And so Dawn, I was crying and screaming and healing, and thank God I was in Bali. So many healers, breath work, you name it, any form of healing, breath work, somatic work, past, whatever, it's all there.
Yep.
And then I went through the process, I went through everything, but my full integration came when I finally found my somatic therapist. Shout out to Tanya, who has been a life-changing.
Amazing.
But it was just that, it was just like in all those past relationships, like they were just a constant mirror of something that I was running away from.
Yeah.
But the reality is, every time I ran into one of those relationships, when we say it comes with baggage, it comes with baggage.
Ancient baggage.
Tons of baggage. So, when you get in that beautiful relationship that's filled with love, unfortunately, when you choose people out of your pain, like, for me, bringing in tons of liars. So when I have a beautiful relationship, what am I going to think? That this beautiful person is always lying to me.
Yeah.
That and it's like, that's the reality. And I think that that's one of the practical things that we don't really understand when we say, ambiguous words such as healing or evolving or facing triggers. It's like, no, like when you keep getting in these relationships that are mirrors of your past, but you think you can outsmart them, you can't, because they always bite you in the ass. And the bad things that you learn in those things, when you do find love, you're gonna have to heal from that too. And so instead of just being on this lifelong journey of healing, just slow the F down.
Yeah.
And sit with yourself.
And it is painful, because what you're referring to is a defended closed heart versus an open heart.
Yeah.
And we can't come into openness within ourselves until we truly have gotten to a point of wholeness and loving ourselves. And wholeness is a lifelong journey. It's not like you get to like this destination, but it is something where you start to, do the work. Like you turn around and you look at your past and you start to be able to see why you chose those partners, what you receive from that. Because even in the difficult relationships, you still receive medicine. If you're willing to look at it and say, okay, what was that? What did that teach me? And you get to a point, hopefully, where there's this kind of stopping point, if you've had challenging and difficult relationships, where you say, no more. I'm not going to continue to do this. I keep bringing in the same thing. Like you were saying, it's our wound is choosing the relationship, not the higher self, not the open-hearted, I trust life self. It's, you were saying you had all these abandonment, all these things happen. So you're choosing from that place, just like I did too. I have a very similar story where I was bringing in all these same partners that had alcohol issue, that had an alcoholic father, maybe some kind of mental stuff going on too, because my mom has, had her stuff with depression and all this. And interestingly enough, when you were talking about when, the world was shut down in 2020 and all that kind of stuff, I was, Erica and I were always doing WhatsApp with each other while she was living in Bali. And there was a reason why I told her to read Betrayal Bonds, because I was doing this. So you were doing the work single and figuring out, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to repeat this. I got to slow it down in my sanctuary. And I was in a different situation where I was in a relationship, right? I was with, the father of my children, and I had the same thought process while in relationship.
Wow.
And and the thing about healing, you guys, and deciding to do the work, it can happen at any space in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be when you're alone. I actually think a lot of the time, some of our best teachings and learnings is when we are in relationship, right? That's why we choose to be in relationship. But it's how difficult is the relationship, how big are those lessons going to be versus, you were saying, can it be from a loving space, or is it going to be from kind of like more difficulty? But anyways, for me, when I made that choice of, I need to look at myself, I need to slow down, I need to see why I keep choosing into this. What are these patterns? But I was doing it while I was in the relationship. And it was very challenging. But that time of life, there was a forced going within, right? There was a forced slow down. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I always believe Bali, right, is such an amazing goddess teacher, right? I was in Bali in 2019, right before the shutdown, saying, oh my God, I want my divine partnership. And I knew in my heart that the person I was with, that we weren't moving in the same direction. But I had to do the work within myself to choose me and to figure out why do I keep choosing this? Why is this happening? So that when I did finally decide to leave, I was leaving from a clear slate, a neutral slate, so I could start over, and then I could do some work by myself too. I spent a year being single, before I met my partner, my divine partner that I'm with right now. But it's so critical that we don't choose and continue to see life through the lens of our past. Because if you want a different type of relationship than what you've had, whether you're in one right now, because you can do this work while you're in a relationship, and it could be amazingly beneficial and wonderful for your partnership. Or if you're single, it's like taking the time to learn how do I come back home to myself? How do I start to recognize these patterns, and how do I start to choose differently? Right? That's what we really want to help you with, is not just, like you said, micro healing. I love that, by the way, Erica, but really deciding and being devoted to a vision of what you would be like when you're in your healthiest space with yourself first and foremost, and then the relationship, right? Then the relationship
Those
mirrors
two
back
words,
to you.
those two words, deciding and devotion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that those are monumental because, the deciding can be a process, because I believe that when you're deciding, life can give you lots of opportunities. Go, do you want this? Do you want that? And it's how true are you going to be to holding boundaries within yourself to the decision that you made, and going, no, 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 I am devoted to me. I am devoted to my highest version, in partnership. And no matter what options come my way, because they do come, when you've been in that frequency, life goes, well, this is the frequency they're in. So here, this is what you're in. And until you come to that crossroads of, no, I am devoted, and I'm making this decision, like, this is not going to continue to go this way, that when those things come and you go, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. And the frequency goes, oh, then this has to change, because they're not responding to that frequency any longer.
Yep. She shifted. That's exactly what happened to me when I was single. As I was going on these dates, and they were really nice men, but I knew my truth. I'd done enough work to either recognize the red flags, and all that kind of stuff. And and you have to be really in your body, right? Just to pay attention and not to get swept up in some story, right? Of, if you're really wanting to be in a relationship and somebody seems like they could be ideal, it doesn't matter. You really have to listen and tune into your intuition. But I remember what was so amazing right before I met Ricky, my partner. I went on like 3 dates in a row, and each guy was super cool. Nice guys, had something incredible. Each of them had their own thing going. And I was like, no, this is a no. And I feel like, because I was so crystal clear in my frequency of, I'm not settling. I'm not going to just be with somebody because, it'd be nice to be in a relationship. I was very clear. I'd rather be by myself than settle and not have the things that I really desire and want in a relationship. And when we get to that point, and it's the same thing with other things in our life. And a lot of the women that we work with, Erica, they're successful women. They know how to do this, for instance, in business.
Yes.
Or they know how to do it in, being a mother or something. But when it comes to the relationship space, they get into a story, maybe because of the past of what they've experienced, of like, well, I haven't had better than that. So this guy's being really nice to me. So maybe I'll, kind of try to, no, it should be an F yes. Like, it's not even like, don't even mess around with the half-ass, kind of like, oh, this could be good. Because when you're stepping into being the most limitless version of yourself, right? And becoming, that's why we name this becoming, because you're becoming your future self that has the things that you desire and want.
Yep.
You don't waver.
No.
You don't just go, okay, yeah, I'm going to like settle for that. So this is really about getting clear. So one of the things that Erica and I are going to help you guys get so crystal clear about is, what has been your story? What's your relationship story? Because I know mine was, you know yours. And are you willing to look at that and really take away the lessons so that you become this really embodied woman that's like, yeah, I've had these things happen to me. There's nothing wrong with me. Because that's the thing, Erica, is a lot of my clients are like, oh, something must be wrong with me because I had all these dysfunctional relationships.
Yeah.
No, it goes back to what you said. If you grew up in dysfunctional, kind of environment, then there's a really huge likelihood that that's familiar to you, and you're going to choose very similar things because your soul is trying to help you heal.
Yes.
It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because your soul is like, hey, let's clean up your backyard or your side of the street so that you can be more whole within yourself and have these epic relationships. They're going to mirror back different things to you, not just like where you have wounding, but actually where you want to expand.
Right, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say something too about the half-ass. I think one of the things that we don't, it's such a good word, because what we don't realize with the half-ass is it comes with consequences.
Oh,
It comes with real consequences.
it
It's
really does.
like, it's delayed. You're just delaying your future self, which means you're prolonging your pain, because when you half-ass something, we're wired for connection, which means that our hearts are going to somewhat get involved. Even though you think you can outsmart it, it's BS. You're not going to outsmart. Your heart's going to get involved. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to grieve something that you never should have been in the first place.
Yeah.
And so instead of continuing to prolong and push off your higher self, push off that higher relationship that you really desire, it's getting really adamant to saying no to the half-asses.
Yeah. And trusting, right? What you're saying is you have this future self that is already in the relationship. If you can envision that there is a future self in a timeline that already exists where you're in the relationship of your dreams.
Yeah.
First and foremost with yourself and then with your partner, you're going to have faith and trust and continue to tune into that energy versus what you know.
Yeah.
Right. Because what is your comfort zone. It's like, oh, I've had this and I could have this again. And, we both work with a lot of women that kind of dilly dally back to the past and they go to the placeholder. There's the person that makes them it's not the person they really want to be with, but it's a relationship that kind of, fulfills something. And so they keep going back because they're not trusting what their future is holding for them.
Yeah.
But you have to redirect your energy. You cannot serve two masters at one time. You can't be kind of going back to what is comfortable and expecting something new to come. You have to be willing to let go, like you said, of a piece of your identity so that you can step into the new.
For me, it was, it was like there was this future idea of what I wanted. But I think for me, it was I knew I could not continue to live in that kind of pain anymore. I knew I couldn't sustain that any longer. Like it was almost like the vision was distant for me, but because I was so aware of the pain, I was like, I cannot do that to myself. If I'm this, coach and this guide, and I know the value of self-love, this is not loving to myself to continue to return to this kind of pain. It's like a dog returning to its vomit. It's like, this cannot.
That's pretty bad.
It's bad. It's really bad. I'm like, this cannot continue to happen. And it was like, I think for me, that determination of I can't live this way, while maintaining that there is this vision of what I wanted, but being acutely aware that that pain was real. And if I wasn't making a clear and consistent no to that it would just play itself out again.
Yeah. Yeah. That pain is very real. And I've worked with women too, that the pain was so great that they shut down completely and didn't even want to be in relationship again. Right. So that's why that vision, holding a vision, and we help you in becoming in our program, really learn how to tune into your future self and, kind of the medicine that she has for you, the prescription of how she's going to help you get from where you are today to where she is. But, the thing is the pain can be so intense when it's matters of the heart, but because of its intensity, it's on the flip side of that. When it's alchemized, when it's shifted, when it's worked on, integrated, embodied, it changes you radically down to like the core of your being.
Yes.
And it's like, it's why we continue to show up in life, is because of that connection that we want. And so, for the women that feel like, oh, the pain and I can't get over it and I don't want to let go, like what's happened to me, what if I bring in the same type of person? that's why we created this program, is because whatever your story is, it's time to retire that story if it's not working for you, right? There's a reason.
Yeah. And the reality is this, Dawn, you know, when you recommended that book to me, I started working with the somatic therapist, and, you know, I was doing breath work, and something changed on the inside, so much so that it was tangible. Like when other men would come in, and what you were saying, like in your body, because, you know, somatic therapy helped me come back to my body. When different people would come in, I would just go, oh, no, 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 something. And I would just tell my friends, my friends would be like, oh, but this guy's great, or that guy's great. And I go, I don't know, but something in my body says, no, 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 no. And it was like, I think that as women go on this journey with us, that they won't have to fear that, because there actually comes a shift that creates a tangible change on the inside, that when those people come, you go, no, that doesn't feel right. And that's a no for me. And you'll be empowered to say no and to push that away, because it's no longer an integrity with who you have become.
Yep. It's not enticing anymore. There's no allure. It actually is it's almost like repelling.
Yes.
Because you're saying it's like, it's really doing the nervous system work. It's working on your physical body. Like once you start to heal and to really love yourself, there's a feeling of safety and security that you can provide to yourself. So you're not looking to the external world or somebody else to fix something or make you feel something that you weren't able to provide yourself before. Once you start providing it to yourself, that's when, everything shifts and changes, because you have that inner kind of comfort with yourself, that love. And so you're not going to want to go. For me, it was like, okay, I chose, unfortunately, nothing against it, but I chose people who had some alcohol abuse issues, right? And it was because my dad was that way. But when I really started to do the work and started to kind of unpack it and see it, as soon as I could tell if somebody was kind of vacillating in that area, had a very similar frequency, I was like, no, thank you. Been there, done that, learned it. My body recognized it. Right? Like, doesn't, when you've been with people that have similar characteristics to the path that you've worked through, yeah, your body's like, hell to the no, I don't want that anymore, and so it becomes, women are so incredibly wise when it comes to their bodies. There's such a wealth of information that when you start to trust your body is going to tell you, not because, because you're going to learn the discernment between, is that my ego and my wounding of the past? Or is it my higher self and my heart that's like guiding me and leading me and telling me like, this is really exciting? And it might be very vastly different than what you've had, hopefully vastly different than what you've had in the past.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited because we're going to be offering this free masterclass where we're really going to invite women into this. They're going to get to ask questions from us, because everyone has their own story and their personalized journey. So I can't wait to get their questions and to really dive deep and really unpack what all of this really is in this masterclass. We're going to share a link right in the comments.
Yep, we're going to share the link. It's going to be December 1st. It's in a couple of weeks on a Thursday at the same time, around 9 a.m. Pacific. And so we'll share the link. We would love for you guys. It's a free masterclass to really, like Erica said, dive deep and to get clarity on what it's going to take for you to become the version of you, to have the relationship that first with yourself and then your partner that you truly desire, whether you're single or coupled up. And so we'll be sharing that. And we'll also be sharing the link for our program called Becoming. Yes. So that'll be there as well. And Erica, it was so fun to get to talk to you. And we, unfortunately, because it's through Zoom, we didn't get to see the comments, but we'll go through the comments. Yes. And if you like this, love this, please share your love with us. And then also share this video. If you know a woman that would really, really benefit from what Erica and I are talking about, please share this video.
Absolutely. It could literally save her life. So take care of your sisters, share the video.
Yeah. Okay, Erica. Well, thank you so much. And we will be back doing some more live. So we'll see you guys soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, thanks. Bye.